Damien Chazelle's La La Land, released in 2016, ends in a very peculiar way, dealing with the figure of the double and the uncanny feeling lying in the uncertainty of what is real and what is not. The film is a musical about Mia and Sebastian's love story, who chose to follow their dream, sacrificing this love which bonds them together. In this sequence, the music plunges the couple into a parallel universe of what could have been. There is thus two Sebastian in two shots following each other. Sebastian, who became Mia's husband, looking at Sebastian the pianist who knew her once. This doubling creates an uncanny feeling, all the more so as the pianist was not Sebastian when the camera first swept the room. So there is this need of the audience for double-checking, did I see it right? In order to plunge the audience into this what could have been with the characters, Damien Chazelle resorted to an immersive device, plunging the room into darkness, exactly what is done in theaters for the same exact reason. Indeed, Anne Friedberg wrote, "The spectator in the dark is alone with himself and the illuminated image, which enables immersion." Damien Chazelle had already used this technique at the beginning of the movie, not for the same purpose, but to emphasize Mia and Sebastian's first meeting after they rode past each other in a traffic jam. In this final sequence, Chazelle actually copied a lot of previous sequences, increasing its uncanniness because it creates a feeling of déjà vu which blurs the boundary between reality and imagination. Indeed, very often, the same exact shot are reframed but as a means to another end, which may seem much happier. Sebastian kisses Mia instead of jostling her when she encounters him for the first time. The circular tracking shot on the two actors is another immersive technique to fully focus the audience's attention on them, accompanying their movement as a way to make the audience feel closer to them and identify. Later in the sequence, Sebastian sends away his old acquaintance, the factor of many of their troubles, and can attend Mia's first show, the subject of their biggest fight. In this movie, contrary to many others, Sebastian's double is not the figure of the evil twin, but on the contrary, his perfect self, close to Freud's idea of the uncanniness of the double, especially because of his more friendly aspect, making him less human.
Mia, I'm so sorry. Blame me for
It's
not
over.
letting- What is?
It's over.
What?
All of this. Nobody showed up.
So what?
I can't pay back the theater. This is so... I'm gonna go home for a while.
I'll come see you tomorrow.
No, I'm going home.
Towards the end of the sequence, Mia and Sebastian find themselves in a theater watching a Super 8 film of their future together. The audience is literally immersed into this film as the frame gets wider. Again, all boundaries are blurred, and the audience is not sure anymore of who is the double of whom, heightening even more the uncanny feeling set off by this sequence. But this parallel reality is broken, the image is blurred and flickering, pointing out the fact that it is not real. Another double of Sebastian is Mia's actual husband. Damien Chazelle decided to use the same shots when Mia and Sebastian go to the clubs and when Mia and her husband went there at the beginning of the sequence, as a way of replacing him and maybe killing him through imagination. As with the Super 8 film, this uncanny immersive sequence deals a lot with hybridity and intermediation, placing it between dream and reality, plunging the audience and characters into all forms of art, from drama to the backstage of cinema, from shadow puppet to animation and finally ballet. So many artistic sectors that the director wanted to highlight in his movie. With ballet, Damien Chazelle refers to Cinderella fairy tale as the clock by which Mia and Sebastian are passing shows midnight. Everyone except them is frozen by a spell. This shot marks the end of the dream. The parallel universe is going to disappear, and with it their doubles. As Mia's husband is leaving the club, Mia following him, she looks back at Sebastian one last time. Both of them smile and nod, which increases again the uncanny feeling of this dream sequence. Was it, after all, a dream, or did they live this moment thanks to the magical power of music, further to which Mia accepts her husband to replace Sebastian in her heart?